At this time of year, we're all experiencing some form of Super Bowl fever. But there's a lot more than good football and clever commercials in store. There's a lesson for business professionals. In this video, I'll discuss what business teams can learn from watching football. Anyone who watches football on television has witnessed this familiar scene. The camera pans high above the stadium to a booth where your team's favorite coordinator sits looking over the field and reviewing information that's printed on a large laminate. Using a telephone, they communicate what they're seeing to the coaches on the field. The camera then pans to the field, and you see the team's head coach pacing up and down the sideline, wearing headphones and a mic, while closely looking at a laminate that closely resembles the one that the booth coaches were also using. It's obvious he's communicating with his team up in the booth. The camera pans again, this time to the field, where the quarterback is looking toward the sideline at the head coach. The coach reads the play off the laminate and shouts it into his microphone. The quarterback nods his head, letting the head coach know that he's received the message. He pulls the offense into a huddle and reads from a smaller version of the laminate that's attached to his wrist. The quarterback calmly tells the team what play they're going to run. The offense breaks from the huddle and lines up, ready to execute on a play that was communicated from the booth to the sidelines, to the quarterback, and finally, to the entire offense. They approach the line of scrimmage, poised to run a meticulously thought out and well-communicated play, when the unthinkable occurs. The defense is lined up in a way that the team had not planned for. The quarterback realizes that if they run this play against the defensive lineup that they're facing, the play is bound to fail. He quickly starts to wave his arms. He moves up and down on the right side of the line, shouting that the play has changed. He repeats this proclamation on the left side of the line. The wide receivers wave their arms, letting the quarterback know that they can't hear him. He moves closer to them and uses hand signals. The receivers motion back that they understand. The quarterback returns to center. He taps one of his linemen on the back to get his attention. When the lineman turns around, the quarterback points to the defensive player that the lineman must now block. The lineman then turns to his fellow lineman and communicates the new blocking change. Lineman number 2 repeats the same message to lineman number 3. The sequence of tapping, pointing, shouting, hand-waving, and talking continues until finally the quarterback calls for the ball to be hiked. The team runs the play. When it's ended, all of the participants have just 40 seconds to repeat the entire sequence. An offensive football play is the ultimate example of good and sometimes bad team communication. Strategy is set by those who have a stadium or high-level view of what is happening across the landscape of the entire field. Tactics are determined by those who have a field-level view of the operation. The real challenge, however, comes when it's time to actually execute the play. Regardless of what's communicated down and across the organization, the real decision must be made at the point of execution. The quarterback must identify the landscape that he's facing at that moment and quickly make a decision either to move forward with the original play or call an audible and change the play. If he decides the latter, he must quickly communicate the change to every member of the team. The team members must also communicate the change to each other. To ensure that the entire team is on the same page, the quarterback must use multiple modes of communications, including hand signals, shouting, pointing, and tapping. The members of the team have a role also. They must let the quarterback know when they don't understand or when they can't hear him. If he receives feedback that he's not understood, the quarterback must continue to use different communication approaches until he receives acknowledgement that his directions are comprehended. The communication approach that takes place every time a football team runs a play is not much different than the communication techniques that corporate teams must use if they hope to be successful. Vision and strategy are communicated down from corporate executives to various levels of management in the company. Management then makes the tactical calls on how to execute these strategies. When implementing these strategies, however, the employee who's on the field is likely to face conditions that were not anticipated or planned for by the executives in the booth. When this happens, the employees must make a decision. Does he or she do just as they're told, or do they call an audible and make adjustments? If they choose the latter, the communication approach is similar to the one that's used in the football scenario. Like the quarterback waving his arms frantically, the employee must get the entire team's attention so that everyone knows that on this project or in this situation, the team is deviating from the original plan. Like the quarterback waiting to see that his wide receivers acknowledge that they understood him, She must continue to communicate until she is sure that everyone has heard her and that everyone is clear about what they need to do. Once the project is complete, the team only has a short amount of time to prepare to repeat the process all over again. Is your team ready for kickoff? This is Dr. Kaliym Islam.